you can see that thing.
Hello.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello!
Yeah, I'm glad that thing is moving in that direction. The wind is blowing that way. You do not want to get caught in one of those things.
Just missed us.
All right, so while we're over here, this thing is weird. So we've looked at this before, and unfortunately this thing is not fully excavated.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the land of Chem. I'm your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. Now, today, the highly anticipated return to the Giza Plateau to evaluate the new entrance experience. And once we hit the ground, an examination of the final pyramid and its 3 satellites, as well as an exploration of the pyramid quarry and crystal temple. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's intro. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. Now, to begin, here are some diagrams of the satellite pyramids that you will see in the first part of the expedition footage on the south side of the final pyramid, the last 3 structures of the Giza Plateau. This is G3A with the subterranean chamber here. These are the 2 stepped core pyramids that were originally cased true pyramids, G3B and G3C. And here is a diagram of G3B that has that excavated tunnel leading from the south face down into the lower chamber system. Now, in this old photo, the temple complexes between the satellite pyramids are still visible. This one is between G3A and G3B with the basin indicated here. This one is between G3B and G3C that features 2 of these mysterious basins within the temple. And here is a diagram of the main temple complex on the east side of G3A with the laboratory area here featuring a variety of different chambers and this bizarre courtyard area here, in the center of which was this vertical shaft leading down into the bedrock. And remember what this looks like in this photo, as absolutely none of this is still there today. Now, onto the quarry area, which you can see here on the southeastern side of the final pyramid. And we walked from the satellite pyramids here to explore the quarry area before heading down in this direction to investigate the industrial gold processing complex down here. This is an old photo from that quarry area with the remains of partially excavated limestone blocks being extracted directly from the bedrock of the Giza Plateau, exactly like what we see on the north side of the central pyramid in the quarry area located there. Now, in episode 122, the Crystal Temple and industrial gold processing on the Giza Plateau, I presented the archaeological research from the original excavations of this industrial complex that features 12 circular ovens. Or rather, in my opinion, they were industrial kilns that were used for roasting calcite crystal and other gold-bearing ores, and as you will see during the footage, this area is covered with unshaped calcite crystal formations that appear to have been extracted in their raw form, from which gold deposits were being removed. This mineral specimen here showing gold found in conjunction with calcite, the exact same material that you will see in the footage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin tonight's episode, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch the previous episode 157, the Egyptian Pyramid Chemical Engineering Part 2, Temperature and Pressure within the Primary Steam Reformer of the Red Pyramid. This is perhaps the most important research episode that I have ever produced, presenting calculations that reveal the temperature and pressure capabilities of the reaction chambers within the Red Pyramid. I'll put a link in the video description below. This is an absolutely must-watch episode. So now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I hope you enjoy Sunday Site Visit 102, featuring the new Giza Access Experience.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. And we have returned to the Giza Plateau today. However, for the first time in my experience visiting the Giza pyramids from a perspective that I have never seen before. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the highly anticipated new Giza entrance access experience. And I can already tell you that arriving at the site has a completely different feeling than what we have become accustomed to. Your driver, your Uber, your tour bus will take you around the back side of the Giza Plateau, miles away from the heart of Giza. And I use that word specifically. And as I just showed in the little 360-degree view, you can see this massive parking lot, absolutely packed with cars. And this is the new Great Gate. So today, we're gonna check it out. Now, I'm gonna remain optimistic and not pass judgment until we finished for today. Apparently, the entire process is supposed to be a lot easier in terms of getting tickets, getting to the plateau, less hassle from the plateau vendors, minimalizing animal cruelty by circumventing the camel and horse people. And I get it. But I can already tell you, this is, it reminds me a lot of our experience going to Stonehenge, which, you know, arguably one of the most important ancient sites in all of England, has been completely sanitized for the tourism experience. And they have a big parking lot and a fancy entrance area that takes you through the gift shop and the little museum. And you have to cross through all that bullshit to actually get to the site itself, which is exactly what we have here. And unfortunately, most people that now come to the Giza Plateau will never get a chance to experience what it was like before. So that was why we did, hopefully not our final experience going through the actual Giza neighborhood. So we're gonna go over here to the ticket window and we'll see how it goes. Yeah. And for those of you that are familiar with our other Sunday site visit experiences on the Giza Plateau, I mean, check this out. All right, so let's look at it from the positive perspective. Getting tickets, super easy. and none of the excessive chaos that you would have experienced using any of the other two historical gates and ticket areas. It's an absolute madhouse at the other ticket areas. So I will say this experience has been, you know, a little bit sanitized for the benefit of the tourist experience, but I can't say that this is a bad thing. I mean, it's a beautiful building. We're gonna go through the security gate here, and it takes you directly into a little museum and tourist exhibit hall area before you get on the buses to get shuttled up to the plateau. So again, in the vein of remaining optimistic, getting up here was super easy. Getting the tickets was very easy. Everything runs very smoothly. So again, I'll reserve my final judgment until we finish for the day, but I mean, so far so good. It's certainly different than what we're familiar with because we've come to really love the traditional Giza neighborhood. But hopefully we'll still be able to leave the plateau through the local neighborhood so that we can go to Pyramids Restaurant. So we're not exactly sure how that's going to work either. Getting here was easy. Not exactly sure how it's going to work on the other end when we go to leave the plateau. Hopefully we'll still be able to do that through the traditional Sphinx Gate area so that we can get down to, you know, our favorite little neighborhood. All right. You ready?
Let's go. Let's check it out.
All right, so now through the security gate into the exhibit hall, and then from what I've heard, I'm assuming we get on a little shuttle bus that takes us up to the structure. So let's go. All right, so I just got recognized in the wild, which doesn't happen very often, but we just met a fan and subscriber viewer of the channel from Argentina and her husband. Shout out, you know who you are if you're watching the video. So I'll say, so far so good. You know, if you don't have any perspective for comparison, this is all very nice. It's clean. The process has been very smooth so far. There's no chaos, there's no hassle, there's no noise. You know, again, it's not what we're used to, but for the average tourist that may have never had the previous experience, again, there's no point for comparison. And as my wife Alexa was saying last time, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it's all about your perspective and your particular taste for this sort of thing. So this is the new exhibit hall. All of this is brand new. I mean, polished marble floors. We're gonna get to use the restroom in an actual restroom as opposed to having to run into a restaurant, you know, to go use the hammam before the plateau. And I haven't seen any of this stuff before, so you'll get to see and hear firsthand my impression of all this. Okay, I love the dioramas in these big, you know, displays showing the whole configuration of the Giza Plateau. So I will say, this is actually really, really good. You have the Great Pyramid, the Eastern Temple, the causeway from the Central Pyramid leading down to the Valley Temple and the Sphinx, the harbor area. The Carrowkeel industrial town is even shown on this. And then you have the long causeway leading from the final pyramid down to the Menkaure Valley Temple. So I will say, they have done an exceptional job recreating the entire configuration of the Giza Plateau here in this display. And again, they have an explanation of all this stuff here. You know, I'm sure you can press a little button and it'll maybe highlight something or give you a little information. All right. I mean, this is pretty good. All right, some canopic jars and the burial stuff. You know my favorite tool, the pounders. All right, now this is kind of where they lose me a little bit. So they've got some replicas, obviously. These are all replica tools. Some mason's tools here. The square, the plumb bob, and the level. Here's your, you know, dynastic Egyptians dragging stones. A sled over here. All right. The homes of the pyramid builders, the city. All right, you get the gist of it. All right, so what is this here? All right, so okay, I will say, for the benefit of someone that has never come to the Giza Plateau before, all of this is very cool. It is very helpful infrastructure to help give people some orientation for what they are about to experience. So instead of entering the Giza Plateau and being completely thrown off and frazzled and stressed because of all of the chaos and the madness, which is absolutely true of the experience coming through the local Giza neighborhood, if you didn't know what you were getting yourself into, it could be a very hectic and anxiety-provoking experience just trying to get onto the Giza Plateau. Not necessarily through the traditional Mina House entrance, which was the main tourist entrance for the Giza Plateau. But if you didn't know what you were getting into going through the Sphinx Gate, it's quite a hassle. So again, they have exceptional diagrams and displays showing exactly where you are, and you'll take a bus over to the sites and it's going to drop you at the Khufu restaurant. Or so they are trying to improve the overall tourist experience of coming to the Giza Plateau. And I think, at least for now, they have been successful at doing so. They even have a little cinema over here where they give a little presentation. All right. So what do you think so far? I'm gonna put her on the spot.
It's very smooth.
Very smooth.
If they did not experience the Sphinx Gate, I can see them enjoying this very much. Plus, they get to see some of the replica artifacts.
Yeah, right.
Get acquainted with the history here.
I agree. So, I mean, so far so good, and I can't complain about this experience. You know, we love Giza and we love the madness and the experience of the people and all of the chaos. You know, we thrive on that sort of thing, and we've come to love the local Giza neighborhood specifically for that experience. But this, I mean, to each their own, but I'm not mad about this. Would you agree?
I'm not mad about about it. I'm especially excited about, there's a humming.
Yeah, some clean restrooms. Yeah, so we usually have to duck in to one of our favorite restaurants to be able to go use the bathroom before you get on the Giza Plateau, because once you get up there, very, very limited toilet access. So remember that. Go before you get on the bus or get on the Giza Plateau, because otherwise you'll be SOL. All right, so with that being said, we'll go check out the facilities. And then I'm assuming we get on these electric tour buses that will take us up to the structures. And then we'll walk around and do normal Sunday site visit. I got a couple things I want to look at while we're here. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting, but this is not bad. All right.
And there's a cinema.
Yeah. So this is the Heritage Cinema. I'm sure they give you some, bullshit, yada yada, whatever. The typical indoctrination presentation. All right. I gotta admit, and I hate that I'm about to say this, but I kind of like it. So I'm a sucker for a good bathroom. And generally speaking, the quality of a restroom is indicative of the execution of the entire facility. And I will say, spectacular.
There's clean, there's toilet.
Oh yeah, they got all the stuff. She's saying it's clean, they got toilet paper, marble floors, beautiful lighting, exceptional facilities. Which again is indicative of the overall quality of this new tourism experience. All right, so now here, all right, so here we go. I guess this is where it turns into a carnival. Okay, so here's all the buses. Man, I mean, this could not be more different. Remember what you saw a couple of weeks ago with our last experience in the Giza neighborhood compared to what you've seen today? I really expected to hate it. But generally speaking, this is a vastly improved tourism experience and infrastructure.
Some nice buses.
It's way different. And for any of you that have had visits to the Giza Plateau before, I mean, it's pretty wild. But again, I hate to say it, I'm impressed. I wanted to hate it, and I wanted to bitch and complain about how they're, stealing the heart away from the Giza Plateau and there's no passion and no soul. But man, they did a damn good job building this place. And I mean, they even have a medical clinic. I see the sign clinic over here. You would be fucked if something happened on the Giza Plateau before they did all this stuff. Absolutely. Good luck. What if you fall down one of those holes? Good luck. And your ass is going to be sleeping in that hole until they get somebody to, at least they have a clinic over here in case something happens. You bust up your knee, you get a band-aid or something, right? So, I mean, so far so good. I'm assuming we're gonna sit here and wait for the next corral of people to take us on the bus up to the thing. Not too shabby. So, I will say it is packed. There, you should absolutely staggering number of cars in the parking lot. Basically, all of these are groups ahead of us. I'm not gonna turn the camera around because I'm not trying to film people that don't want to be on film.
Hello.
But all right, so dude's gonna ask us if we want to get on the shuttle. Yeah, okay.
Hello. This
All right.
way, brother.
Aywa, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, shukran. Shukran. Ana Masuda Iwafune. So for those of you who heard me say that, when I say Ana Masuda Iwafune, it means I'm a white Egyptian. And the locals, they like when I say that. I think it's funny. All right. So you're smiling, you're happy.
It's nice, it's pleasant.
It's very, very
sanitized.
pleasant. It's certainly sanitized. But I mean, shit. You know, times change, and I mean, let's clean the damn place up and bring on the modernity and get away from torturing these poor animals on the Giza plateau. I wanted to strangle that little son of a bitch that was whipping the horse the last time I was up here. It is infuriating. All right, so we're gonna get on the bus. And I mean, you can't even see the damn pyramids from here. But it'll take you all the way around. And all right, well, I'll take you on the ride hill. What's up, dude? Yeah.
How are you? Enjoying the day?
All right, so let's go. All right, so I was just saying to Lex, damn it, they did a good job fixing it and making it nice. Son of a bitch. I wanted so badly to hate this, but I gotta be honest, bring on the modernity, okay? Where it's friggin' 2025.
The golden age.
The golden age. Clean restrooms, nice, pleasant entry experience. No hassles, no people yelling, no chaos. There's, okay, final first glimpse of the pyramids. And I will say, this is actually rather nice to come through this area and get this view, because you get to come around the backside. I'm assuming we're going to loop around and then go down, which gives you a chance to kind of see the overall layout of the Giza plateau. We're just going to keep it rolling here so you guys can experience the entire process. Yeah, so I'm assuming there's multiple places where you can get dropped off if you so choose. So we might, I mean, this may actually offer easier access to some areas of interest for us. Those of you that have been following along know there's a few specific areas of the Giza Plateau that can be challenging to get to, but this actually may make it easier. And pretty cool view from here.
It's cool to scout out the new areas.
Hello. Yeah, we don't know about. Yeah. No, Tuesday, Wednesday,
It's not too bad.
Whole transaction, you have to pay for my Hello. Hello.
This is quite luxurious.
Hello, how be one?
I mean, yeah, the bus is new. AC, which is going to be critical coming up here in the next few months. I will say it does give you a really nice panoramic view. Look at that.
Making another structure here.
looks like the first stop is near the Nine Pyramids Lounge, which is a restaurant up here. All right, so it appears the first stop is the Nine Pyramids Lounge, which is a restaurant that's been up here forever. Great view. I don't know if we're supposed to get off here. Again, I have no idea what to expect on this whole thing. I was assuming that they would drop the people off near the Central Pyramid parking lot area. But let me ask somebody. I don't mind getting off here because this is actually the area that we wanted to go look at for today. All right, yeah, fuck it. We'll just go from here. Where's Lex? All right. All right. All right. So, again, I don't know if they were just dropping people off here. This is the Nine Pyramids Lounge area. All right, so not a bad spot. So, from this perspective, you get a great vantage point of some areas that we've investigated before. So this area here is the location of the crystal temple, and all those crystal blocks that we found down here, the calcite crystal. This depression here is actually known as the Menkaure Quarry. It's the quarry site where they were harvesting all of the limestone blocks that went into the body of the final pyramid. Kent Coway's here. And so at this point, I'm not exactly sure how the process is supposed to work. I don't know if the tour group that was on that bus was just getting dropped off here. I'm somewhat tempted to just walk over this rope and go, because this is what we wanted to look at today anyway.
Excuse me?
But I'm assuming there is a bus that takes you all the way up to the thing. All right, you want to just go?
Yeah.
All right, so we were going to investigate the satellite pyramids. All right, so let's go around so we're not doing it just right here. Now, I don't recommend you guys do what we're about to do because I don't think it's the official way to do this. Where did she go? She always disappears. There we go. So we're gonna walk around the other side here. Again, for those of you that were hoping for an on-the-site expedition to investigate some ancient stuff, we'll get there. Be patient. And I apologize that this is a bit of a touristy, portion of this episode, but I think it's important that we document this, or maybe we get on a bus to the next thing and they'll take us to the actual pyramids. Again, per Egypt, don't expect a good explanation of anything. Hop on off tour. Let me ask this guy. Sadiki, mumkin min hena al haram? Haram, yeah. How? From the main entrance. Alright, so Dawati Hena? Okay, alright. It's my broken Arabic. I was asking him, Mumkin min hena al haram. Is it possible from here to the pyramids? Again, the buses are really nice, spacious. Oh, so we got off on the wrong stop. Okay, so it goes from the visitor center to the panorama to Menkaura, Central Pyramid, Sphinx, Khufu. All right. I'm definitely not mad at it.
Quite convenient.
It is quite convenient.
Well, where's the adventure?
And yeah, I mean, you know, looking at both sides of the coin, it's not as exciting. You know, going through the Giza neighborhood is a thrilling process. If it's your first time, you would almost need a guide and someone to help you through. It would be very challenging to get through it on your own if you had no idea what you were getting yourself into. This, very straightforward, like walking into a museum. Ticket area, very clearly labeled. Very structured environment. Again, we just got off at the wrong stop. We went from the visitor center to the panorama here at the Nine Pyramids Lounge. But then it looks like the bus also takes you as far as you want to go. So now that we're on the bus, I'm assuming, well, we're going to see where it takes us. All right, we'll be right back. Drop-offs. So now he's going to drop us off here at Menkaura. Okay. Listen.
Private escort.
All right. So another point to make: if you are older, or if you have any, you know, physical considerations. Shukran, shukran. Okay, asif, asif. Shukran. It is so much easier So if you have trouble walking or anything like that, the bus literally takes you to exactly where you want to go. So we just got off at the first stop at the wrong stop. If we had stayed on the bus, it just continues taking you along the route, and we were the only people on the bus. So we just told them to take us to Menkaure, which is the final pyramid. And let me get myself situated. It's sandy AF up here right now. Holy shit. All right, one sec. All right, so one of my major concerns about this new tourism access infrastructure experience was going to be limitation of foot traffic across the Giza plateau. But it appears it won't be impacted at all, because once you take the bus to the area of interest, you just get off and go walk around. And this actually kind of gives you direct access to some areas that are otherwise a real pain in the ass to get to, because you got to walk through the desert, you know, for 20-30 minutes to get across. I mean, it takes a long time to walk across this area.
Hey guys.
ازيك؟ شكرا. مشايخ شكرا. Not too bad. So I think they've also had a you know, a conference call, team meeting with the HR department for all of the operators of the camels and horses, and you know, they're really trying to put an end to what some would interpret as being hassling and overbearing, you know, sales tactics from these guys to try to offer people carriage rides.
I wonder if they get a base salary now.
Yes, we've never, it doesn't appear that these people are employees per se. You know, they're not punching a clock and getting a paycheck from, well, I mean, it would be Orascom that runs the whole thing up here. So I don't think they're employees. They're more like, you know, independent operators who come up here, and, you know, I wouldn't want to call them business owners, but, you know, they're camel operators, camel vendors, or carriage operators. So we'll see if this guy, Mashaya Shukran Sadiki. All right, yeah, so usually it takes a couple of times to get that to work. But it seems that they, again, you know, they're cracking down on these people pestering the tourists over and over again, which is, this is good. Okay, all good so far. So I'm a curmudgeon, and I'm a bitter old man, and I don't like change. I want things to stay the way they are. Give me the old decrepit entrance with all of the craziness. I like that. And if it's still an option, you know, we may choose to still come in through that entrance. So again, this is, yeah, so they've always had vendors up here, but maybe not to this extent. You know, if you want to buy some knickknacks or whatever, they're all over the Giza plateau. Super cheap too. You get most of this stuff for like $1. All right, but there's a couple of things I want to take a look at over here. All right, so we haven't been over this way in a while. I can't even remember the last time we came out here. It's been several months since we did the final pyramid, Menkaure pyramid. And you may remember this was the structure where they had the brilliant idea of attempting to reassemble the casing stones on the outside of the structure, which was very quickly shot down, not only by the international archaeology community, but finally by some people that had some better sense within the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities. They were going to take all these granite pieces, or the ones that were intact at least, and try to put them back up on the structure, which is a really poorly thought through idea. So Lex and I were kind of, you know, we think on the same page a lot, and I wanted to come up here today to look at the satellite pyramids, and then she said, why don't we do the satellite pyramids? Because Mashayas, shukran sadiq. So I kind of stumbled across a very interesting, let's for now call it a mechanism, a very interesting detail while I was preparing for the previous episode regarding the temperature and pressure conditions inside the final, or the primary steam reformer of the Red Pyramid. And I think it's directly related to what was going on with the satellite pyramid. So here you can see there's actually a little depression here. They had excavated down about, I don't know, close to probably 10 feet. They dug a big hole here, and they were attempting to reveal that there is still 10 feet worth of casing stones buried below the sand. So what you can see here isn't actually the bottom of the pyramid. This goes down at least another 10 feet, and they had dug out this whole pit, and we showed the photos in previous episodes that this is way far from the actual base of the pyramid, which is much further below this. Yeah, you can see the area here. And there was a guy standing down in the hole, and it was several feet above his head. So I would say they went down about 10 feet here. And it appeared from the pictures that they still hadn't hit the bottom of where the actual base of the pyramid is. It's crazy windy and sandy up here today. Yeah. All right, hold on one second.
All right, everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video, and if you are interested in the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, please remember to subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube so you don't miss out on the new episodes that premiere twice per week. If you want to help support the channel, check out thelandofchem.com. You can pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch, link in the video description below. And if you want to get access to exclusive research videos, check out the Land of Chem members only channel, now up to 22 absolutely massive research episodes that also feature some unreleased expedition footage. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. Now, back to the video.
All right, we're getting absolutely blasted today. All right, so this is a view that we haven't shown in a while, and not a lot of people come out around this side of the final pyramid. So as I've mentioned before on previous Sunday site visits, there's 11 pyramids on the Giza plateau. People think it's just 3. So we're going to look at the final 3. And you can see here 2 of them sticking out on the south side of the Menkaure pyramid. Again, that's the conventional nomenclature. So they found in the upper chamber, the bedrock excavated upper chamber of Menkaure, a wooden sarcophagus that had the hieroglyph of Menkaure scrawled on the outside of it in a wooden box. And inside of that wooden box, they found a mummy. However, it's a 15-year-old girl, and it was dated to the Persian era. So old Menkaure was nowhere to be found, and this fake intrusive burial was installed much later inside of the structure. The Persians were actually the first to use these sites as historic museums and tourist sites, specifically Saqqara. All right, so these are the satellite pyramids. You can see this one is a true tetrahedral shape. The other 2 are stepped pyramid shapes. Man, look at this huge piece of granite here, man. This is... That's a big ass rock right there. And yes, these things do have inner chambers. And there are openings that go down inside of these. They are not currently open or accessible to the public. You can see this here. This is all cement and modern bricks. This is the opening. So this one's been permanently sealed. Hey Lex, I'm going this way. We'll take a walk over here and I'll show you the other one. We'll look at all 3. And then I'm keen to walk back down to the Crystal Temple area. All right, so the other opening would have been over here. Now completely buried in sand. And just so you can see the whole thing, we're going to walk around this one, and then we'll come back around and we'll kind of, you know, weave in back and around these structures so you could see the whole thing. Oh, there's a sandstorm tornado right there. Yeah. Yeah, you can see that thing. What's up? Hello. Yeah, I'm glad that thing is moving in that direction. The wind is blowing that way. You do not want to get caught in one of those things. All right, so while we're over here, this thing is weird. So we've looked at this before, and unfortunately, this thing is not fully excavated. And this appears to actually be a part of the bedrock. So you can see, you know, again, I wish that they would dig all of this out in through here so you could see how deep this thing goes, and also clear out all of this shit. And I guarantee you it's a tunnel. It's an inlet to a shaft. Here on this side, I believe the technical nomenclature for this one is G3C, which is Giza Pyramid 3, Satellite Pyramid C. So for example, the first satellite pyramid adjacent to the Great Pyramid is G1A, this one being G3C. Yeah, bedrock. Very unusual component. Possibly an inlet. Obviously impossible to determine without further excavation. So we've actually hiked up to the top of this mountain before. This little outcrop over here. And this is Nine Pyramids Lounge, the area where they, well, it's one of your options to stop over there from the tour buses. Now I think I want to go have a look at the Menkaure Quarry area and down at the Crystal Temple since we're over here. She's nodding in agreement there. Now on the back side of G3B, there is another access, but this is not an original access. All three of the original shafts, the descending shafts that go down into the chamber system. All right, so there is a chamber in here. It's a single central rectangular chamber that basically just has a descending shaft going down into it. And you can see here that there is a this is excavated down into the other side.
Looks like it turns to.
Yeah, it's not an original opening. Now, in between these structures, there were originally temples here. And I've shown this in previous research episodes focusing on this. They had basins and all sorts of components that are indicative of liquids in these areas. And I should dust off that research episode because it also showed the conduits and everything here on the eastern side of G3A. There was a very mysterious temple on the eastern side of this pyramid. And this one actually had granite casing. You'll see here in just a minute. If I remember, I'll try to put in some images at the beginning of the episode. Yeah, so here you can see the granite blocks here. This thing originally had granite casing. They don't know how high the granite casing went. Some have speculated that the entire thing was cased in red granite. And regarding the red granite casing, Great Pyramid is all Tura limestone. There was no red granite used in casing the Great Pyramid. The middle pyramid, the central pyramid, had two tiers or two levels of red granite casing. And it's estimated that the Menkaure pyramid had 16 tiers, 16 levels of red granite casing. And this was the area where this temple was located. And you can see this dark colored material is the remains of extremely eroded and deteriorated mud brick. But there was actually a temple here that had a variety of interesting components. And I'll do my best to make sure to put those in at the beginning of the episode so you can see what I'm referring to. I just got to remember what friggin' episode that was where I did the original research, but I'll track it down. Again, not much that you can see here today. You see more red granite casing here. So again, you have to remember that there were 16, each one of these levels, 16 levels of red granite casing. Again, this isn't the bottom of the structure. The bottom of the structure is way down here. So all this is buried in sand. It would have been basically at the same level. And if I remember correctly, this is the one where there was a pit at the center of this temple that had a huge basin at the center of the temple and a pit shaft that goes straight down at the center of this satellite pyramid temple. Oh yeah, so let me show you the opening here before we go too far. I forgot about that. All right, yeah, so this is the primary original descending shaft.
Super narrow. Flashlight. Here.
It's okay. I mean, it's unfortunately not much to see down in there. All right, so as I mentioned, I stumbled across a very unusual detail when I was preparing the research for the previous episode on the function of the primary steam reformer, temperature and pressure conditions. Let's see who's paying attention. I mentioned one thing specifically in the context of that episode that I have not ever mentioned before here on the channel. So if you think you know what it is, leave it in the comment section below. All right, you want to go down to the quarry in the Crystal Temple? All right. I'm going to try to go see some other areas that we haven't shown yet. We've done this temple area before. So there's some structures down in this quarry. So let me dispel another myth about the construction of the Egyptian pyramids. All of these internal limestone blocks, not casing, the internal limestone core came from right there. The central pyramid had its own local quarry on the Giza plateau. So did the final pyramid. All of the core limestone blocks were harvested directly from the limestone bedrock on the Giza plateau. The two exceptions to those construction materials being the Tuatha limestone, that was the casing, came from a quarry on the west side of the Nile River, and the red granite, which came from Aswan. So it is 100% a false myth that they moved 200 million stones from 500 miles away. That is not correct. The casing, or rather the core limestone blocks, came directly from the Giza plateau. The only thing that they transported from distance were the Tuatha limestone casing. Came from not too far away on the other side of the Nile River, west bank of the Nile River quarry location. And the granite did come from Aswan. All right, and this pit here, this huge depression, is actually a quarry. It's actually known as the MK quarry, the Menkau Ra quarry. And as you can see, there are some structures down in here. See the facade of this bedrock excavated structure here. I'm standing on top of one here. This is a structure all in through here. But this huge area here is a quarry. And so I think we're going to walk down around this way. There's a very interesting feature at the tail end of the quarry that I believe is directly connected into the Crystal Temple area. So we'll walk down that way and we'll show you that. All right, so let's go around and we can probably get in there. All right, let's go around. you can see evidence of some of the quarrying. I'm not sure if you can see that. If I go down in there, it's going to be really hard to get back out because the sand is all caving into this area. But you can see some tool marks on the faces of the quarry area here, all in through this area. Yeah, we can get down there. It's a cool view of an area you might not have seen before. Here, I can do this. I'll show you these tool marks. Oh yeah, the sand is soft and super deep. Looks like it's just a...
Let's go.
One of these bedrock chambers.
Oh, you can still see masonry marks. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is so cool. Look at how it goes. It goes on even further. Oh my gosh. Look at that. We could get down there.
Oh, getting down there is one thing. Let's get it back up. This is a problem. Yeah, there's a whole subterranean structure
Easy access.
down there.
It's fairly clean too. Oh, there's another huge shaft too. Oh shit.
Yeah, that one goes down to what looks like a third level down
It
there.
goes on further to the west.
So it looks like there's two different levels below this structure.
Look at the ochre.
Yep.
See the masonry marks?
Hold on, I need to change the battery. All right, here's another one of these. Most likely connected.
Very careful. There's a ladder. What'd you see?
It's just another sort of cavity. All right, so we're both running low on battery, so we're gonna,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
there's so much to see down there.
So we're going to walk toward the other end of this quarry area, and I'll pick up here in just a minute with a very interesting component that it needs to be documented and shown again, because I'm not sure if everyone's seen that yet. So we'll be right back. All right, so from here you can really see the extent of the quarry area. So remember that this plane of bedrock that you can see here would have extended over this entire area, connecting back into the bedrock over here. And they excavated this massive pit, huge amount of stone that was removed from this area. And you can see more in that outcrop there where the level of the bedrock was originally, connecting into this piece over here. And this whole pit, I mean, the whole thing is filled with sand now, so you can't really even see how deep it is to get to the bottom of this thing. But they excavated a huge amount of stones that went directly into building the core blocks of the final pyramid. Same process with the central pyramid and the Great Pyramid. And now, let's see if we can find this piece. Yeah, it's in this area. And then this is where we're going to go next. And that may have been it that I just walked over, or it's this one here. Here we go. Good, they didn't cover it up. All right. Check this out. So this is excavated directly from the bedrock, this huge channel here. And looking at the slope, this thing is flowing down in this direction. There's a vertical drop here. Again, if you were to remove all the sand, this would be the face of a scalloped face piece of limestone bedrock. So what was here that was feeding into this channel, and we'll follow this channel in this direction, and I'll show you where it goes. Now I will say that inside of this channel looks super eroded. Look at how irregular and so we're gonna follow this thing again, looking back at the quarry area here. All this is a huge drop off. It's open. Here you can see the edge of the limestone bedrock leading into the channel. There's more of the edge here that kind of tapers back around, and then it drops off into the sand here. Huge pit. Used to be all limestone bedrock. All right, now we get run over by this carriage here. We're just gonna walk straight. Follow this channel in this direction. And as soon as we get over here, start seeing these pieces of alabaster, calcite crystal. All of these big chunks are calcite crystal. All these chunks in here. Leading down into this area, which is also referred to as an industrial area of the Giza Plateau. And during the original excavations of this area in the 1930s by Salim Hassan, they discovered kilns out here. We discussed this in the episode regarding the function of the crystal temple and gold processing. They found a series of industrial-sized kilns, the remains of which I have yet to locate. Could have been these things here, but you know, it's impossible to tell with the state of these ruins. So I'll put links in the video description below to some must-watch episodes if you haven't seen those yet. The function of the crystal temple. I don't think these are kilns because he refers to them as being very circular kilns, ovens. And I don't think that these are that. I think it's whatever he discovered here originally has been completely reburied. Somebody's been out here recently. Look at this beautiful piece here. And I've just been looking around at all of these pieces. And they all appear to be very amorphous shapes. And I've shown that these calcite crystal formations can also be associated with deposits and veins of gold. So here you can see where this rough calcite has been used as a building block for a later structure. You know, this is a wall or a partition of some sort, but I don't think that was the original function of this site. I think all of these rudimentary structures here came around much later, and they were using the blocks that were already here to build other structures. So here you can see how the calcite naturally forms in these bubble-like formations. This piece is crazy looking. So this may have originally been standing up, big growth of calcite. And a lot of these have very weird eroded patterns in them. Spend all day out here just looking at these little pieces. Now this one is the only one that we've found out here that looks like this one's actually been worked. It's a column, either a base or the pedestal, or the piece at the top, the ornamental piece at the top, depending on which way this thing was seated. But this is the only one out here that's shaped. You can see how this one is all eroded in through here. patterns on this one. That's the pattern of the crystal growth here. Really, really cool area of the Giza Plateau. All right, so now I think we're gonna try to head out and see if we can exit through the Sphinx Gate area. And overall, it's been a really positive experience. Not what I expected, but I think to people that have never been to the Giza Plateau and this is their first time, it'll be a really pleasant experience. And certainly an improvement on the infrastructure and the ease and access process. I hate to say it, but they did a damn good job. All right, so we're gonna start walking. Be right back. All right, so as we're walking down the causeway, see, it's right there. A couple of takeaways from today's experience. First and foremost, the new access area, the ticket gate, the exhibit hall, the fantastic new restroom situation, the electric buses. I mean, it ran very smoothly, very efficient, very clean, no hassle, and overall a very pleasant experience. It makes getting up to the plateau itself much, much easier. I am honestly quite shocked at how much I enjoyed going through the new area. Second takeaway, most important for us. It appears, at least for now, that the bus access protocol has actually facilitated the on-site experience, because you can take a bus to whatever area you want to get to, and it appears that the foot traffic is even easier, again, at least for now. So for example, we've noticed that they've created some new access infrastructure for the carriages, because now it looks like the carriage business is booming because they've dialed back the intensity with which these services were sold before.
Everyone had a camel.
Everybody was on a camel, everybody was on a carriage, because you take the bus up here and then you have the nice little experience going on the carriage. And I think they really did have a stern talking to with the operators to make that experience nicer for anybody that visits the plateau. So like I was saying, they have new access infrastructure for the carriages to get around from the 9 Pyramids Lounge to the final pyramid, which actually seems to have opened up foot traffic areas. You know, this remains to be seen as we continue to explore the Giza Plateau. You know, I think we're gonna probably continue going through the new entrance area. You know, we take Uber here from our apartment on the other side of the Nile River, and you know, it's a hassle going through the Giza neighborhood, and it just takes a lot longer because you have to go all the way up the street and make a U-turn, and there's a bunch of traffic. And we love that experience, and we're still going to go out this way for now. At least it looks like you can still exit the Giza Plateau on foot. You know, depending on how you come, whether if you're here with a tour, obviously you're going to stick with your tour and they'll probably take you out the same way you came in. And I'm certain that we could get back on a bus and ride the bus around the route back to the new entrance. But, you know, we're obviously not here on a tour group, and we can go wherever the hell we want in terms of leaving the plateau. So we're going to go out through this old Sphinx Gate area, and then we'll pick up an Uber there. So for now, all right, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
We'll do yes or no. Did you like the new access experience? Yes or no?
Surprisingly, yes.
I agree.
I did very much.
Okay.
It's pleasant.
Now, on a rating scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the new entrance area exhibit hall?
I'd rate it 8.
8.
Due to the replicas.
Yeah, you know, they got some, you know, the conventional bullshit in there, right? The indoctrination story of, you know, X, Y, and Z. So it's very touristy, kitschy, you know, it's some bullshit in there. But I will say the display was really nice. The main display showing the entire configuration of the Giza Plateau system was very, very well done. I was very impressed by that. Again,
Hello there. Can I say hello to the camera?
hey, how you doing? Hold on one sec. All right, so I forget what I was saying there, but just overall experience today was very positive. And again, I'm just sort of contemplating future visits now, and I think that it's going to make some things easier, which is a very, very good thing in terms of the research access. None of it has been prohibited. If anything, it's going to make it a little bit easier to get around the Giza Plateau. So overall, man, I'm quite surprised and very impressed. And for now, at least for what I can see ahead of us, it looks like we can still exit via the regular Giza neighborhood. So we're going to go visit our favorite restaurant and, you know, make sure to continue giving them some business.
They'll be happy to see us.
Yes, as always. So
The vendors.
yeah, all the vendors are still here on this side of the plateau. Yeah, man, it went really, really well. So I think that's it for today's Sunday site visit. I know not too much exploration of the ancient sites, but that really wasn't the intention. We wanted to come up here and see how the new system works, and now that we know what to anticipate, it's all good.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, it does certainly look like they've cleared out some stuff from here. These shops were usually teeming with souvenirs that you can buy. So I'm sure that they've taken some of this and redistributed their wares to other areas on the Giza Plateau that are getting more, because again, if you come in through the main entrance, you're probably not going out this way unless that was already scheduled per your tour group.
True, that's a good point.
So for anyone that's coming on the tour later on this year, I'll make sure to schedule it appropriately so you get both experiences. And I'm really, really excited to have everybody here in Egypt. If you're interested in coming on the second 2025 Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Tour, please send me an email to contact@thelandofchem.com with the subject line 2025 Egypt Tour, and I'll send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. I can promise it will be by far the most immersive, life-changing experience that you could possibly have in Egypt, covering more sites than the average tourist would ever get to see. Saqqara, Dashur, the full Giza plateau, including private entry into all 3 chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza at night, the new Grand Egyptian Museum, flights to Luxor, Luxor Temple, Karnak Temple, Dendara Temple, Temple of Seti I, and the Osireion. And then we get on a Nile cruise to head toward Edfu, Komombo, Aswan to see the unfinished obelisk. Then we will go see Abu Simbel and possibly now my favorite site in Egypt, Elephantine Island. We can't wait to get back to see that. So again, send me an email, contact@thelandofchem.com, subject line 2025 Egypt tour. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time.
All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 102, Return to the Giza Plateau. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode in the series, Egyptian Pyramid Chemical Engineering Part 3, the secondary era former of the Red Pyramid. This is an episode you do not want to miss, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube, and remember to click that little notification bell so you don't miss out on the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please like, comment, share, and stay tuned. If you want to help support the channel and get access to exclusive research videos, check out the Land of Chem members only channel and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. Both linked in the video description below. If you want to follow me on Instagram or on X, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our 3 other channels, Ancient Odysseys, Let's Go with Lex and G, and the best channel on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's episode, so I will see you next time.
Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.